Hey, how you going today? I want to do a quick video today about Jaime Oliver and his article that he put in Body and Soul this weekend. Quite impressed with old Jaime Oliver, as I am impressed with Michelle Bridges of late and a few other personal trainers. Quite impressed with their nutritional knowledge. You know, they're getting away from focusing so much on exercise and also getting into, learning about our nutrition, which is, if not, it's so much more important than actually exercising. So that's just a small part of it. Of course, you've got to look at the body as a holistic thing. So it involves around, sleep, exercise, eating, all that sort of stuff. But anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about today. I want to talk about Jaime Oliver and his testicles. All right, so he says in his article that he's been doing a lot more nutrition-wise, which is fantastic, because I think all chefs should, not only just worry about what they're putting in their gobs and, how fantastic it tastes, but also what it's actually doing with your body. So I'm impressed about that. He says, last time I checked, Australia was the fourth most unhealthy country in the world, which isn't what you think when it comes to Australia, which is true. But yeah, we're the fourth most unhealthiest country. Now that's fucking appalling, really, considering we have hardly a poverty rate. We have access to beautiful, fresh fruit, organic vegetables. Most of our, fruit and veg, it's quite cheap, in comparison to the rest of the world. So there's really, really no excuse for it, apart from the fact that we're uneducated and we need to think about food as something that keeps us alive rather than something that we just shove in our gob and, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. Let's just take pills when we're sick, Anyway, again, not about that. Probably the biggest and toughest thing I learned was about sleep. He says not getting enough sleep, but going to bed. Stop fucking about, just go to bed, turn the lights off, get to the room, get your phone away and get 6 hours, not 3 hours sleep. Yep, good advice, Jaime Oliver. Now, what I'm impressed with the most is he says that meat should only be consumed twice a week. Now, preferably not at all. However, twice a week, that's fantastic. I can deal with twice a week. My daughter eats meat twice a fortnight because she goes to her dad's, and of course he's not, he doesn't know about nutrition, so he just feeds her meat and dairy, and I can deal with that. At first it was very hard, considering, once you learn about the hormones and everything in meat and how it's really unhealthy for you, high in saturated fat, you don't want to consume it, and of course you wouldn't want your children to consume it either. However, that's fine, so I'm happy with him saying that. Now he says, I've just spent 2 years speaking to the cleverest people on the planet, people from Harvard, Oxford, from universities where they just study milk and nothing else. So the universities, they just study the impact of dairy on the human body and nothing else. I've consumed so much information from the experts. I've studied nutrition. I've got my diploma, but now I'm doing a degree in nutrition. It's very technical, so I've had to try and put it in simple terms. Now that's fantastic, because if you have studied nutrition, you will know that dairy, is mucus forming. Every time that you consume dairy, you are putting your body at risk from malabsorption from vitamins and minerals. It's highly acidic to your body. It's actually meant for baby cows, not humans. So it all makes sense. So that's really good. His course is obviously a very good quality course. All right, so he says also, he just sort of touched a little bit on the dairy, which is great, but he's more so about the meat. Fair enough. I think he's a little bit scared. I think he's a bit scared to just chuck his balls out in the deep end of the pool and, not step on anybody's feet, because he then says that I'm a PR and marketing nightmare because I'm honest and I speak my mind and I have an opinion. Okay, he's a PR nightmare, yet he won't go balls deep and say that dairy's bad for you. you know. And anyone that's read any Harvard studies knows exactly how bad for your body dairy consumption is. Not only is it acidic and it causes your pH levels to be, you know, through the roof, it also promotes cancer growth. So if you do have any tumours or any growth, whether they're benign or malignant, they do actually grow from dairy consumption, because it is meant for feeding a 300-pound baby, not a 50 odd kilo or 100 kilos, however heavy you are, human being, you know. So there's huge amounts of hormones in cow's milk. And so lately, you know, the advice is from doctors: consume only low-fat dairy products, you know, still less hormones, less fat, of course, because saturated fat, and the saturated fat that you eat is the saturated fat that you wear. Yeah, I just think, Jaime Oliver, you could have just gone that little bit further, and that would have been fantastic. But again, you know, the dairy industry is a huge industry, and of course farmers don't want to, you know, go broke and things like that, so they're plugging the dairy lately. But look into it. Have a look at this. I've got a video that I found, you know, there's thousands. If you even put into your search engine, what the fuck is wrong with dairy, all this stuff will come up. It's whether you want to see it or not, you know. And if you're having problems with your hormone, you know, if your thyroid function, you know, yeah, look into dairy, because 9 times out of 10 it's that. And to be honest, if I had a choice, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, between consuming meat or dairy, I'd definitely just consume meat, you know. But thankfully I don't have a choice, because I live in Australia and we're very, very lucky, and I have fresh produce that I can get, you know. I'm very lucky. We are all very lucky. And to be honest, there's really no excuse for people suffering from disease, because we can cure every single disease through nutrition, you know. And also, you know, also preventing disease. And prevention is always better than cure. And I've said it before, and I will say it again, and that's my motto: prevention is always better than cure. So before you get to that point, have a look at what you're fueling your body with. Have a look at the hormones that you're consuming. Have a look at, you know, is it advertising that's getting you to eat this product, or is it actually healthy for you? So, and I can't wait. I've got about a month left of my nutritional therapies course, and I'll be practicing. So I can't wait. And yeah, I'm going to leave it with that, with you there. But yeah, I love the title too. It says eat less meat, get more sleep, and forget food fads. So that's something in that for all of us, I think. All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy this video that I'm going to pop on the end of here, and look into it. That's all I can say. That's how I discovered it. I'm not, you know, a superhuman being. I've just Googled shit. Google is your friend, unless it's you know, unless it's sponsored by the dairy industry. And if you look at any food pyramid, and you'll see in this video, it's all skewed. The food pyramid, you know, people that are on the board actually work for companies that promote, you know, meat or dairy or whatever they're trying to plug. So, yeah, just be careful who you trust. Okay. So I'm going to go along with this video and just delete bits that really aren't appropriate to the dairy. It's not that there's misinformation there. I agree with everything that he says. It's just going to keep this video nice and short. So let's start off. Here we go.
Hi, this is Dr. Mark Hyman. Today I'm going to tell you 6 reasons why you should avoid dairy. Got milk? Well, these days, it seems like almost everybody does. Celebrities, athletes, even former President Clinton's head of Health and Human Services, Donna Shalala, are all proud to wear the white milk mustache. After all, everybody knows that you need milk to be healthy, right? Not necessarily. Sure, dairy is nature's perfect food, but only if you're a calf. If that sounds shocking to you, it's because very few people are willing to tell the truth about dairy. In fact, criticizing milk in America is like taking on motherhood, apple pie, or baseball. But that's just what I'm about to do. Based on the research and my experience in practicing medicine, I typically advise most of my patients to avoid dairy products completely.
Okay, I'm just going to pause that there. Most doctors do. As soon as you have an illness, you're sick, stay off dairy products because it's mucus forming.
I like ice cream just as much as the next person, but as a scientist, I have to look honestly at what we know. In just a second, I'll explore the many ill effects that are documented from eating dairy. Now, that advice flies in the face of the new up-to-date food pyramid from the...
Okay, so here he just talks about the food pyramid. Just exactly what I just said. So we're going to skip that little bit.
Is one of the most vocal critics of the U.S. food pyramid.
Okay, so he's still talking about that.
The perfect meal could be a cheeseburger, milkshake, fried...
Still talking about that.
To correctly estimating their own caloric intake in a day.
Still talking about
Choose carbohydrates wisely. That's the next bit of advice from the... Most of the food you eat is packaged or processed foods that you don't actually prepare and are full of salt. Like most Americans who eat half their meals outside the homes, this isn't helpful. So a better recommendation would be to avoid packaged, canned, processed, prepared, and fast foods.
Yep, good advice. Eat real fucking food.
Unless you know exactly how they're made. The next bit of advice was if you drink alcoholic beverages, do so in moderation. Sounds good.
Okay, so we're still talking about the food pyramid here, talking about alcohol now. That's not relevant to our conversation about dairy.
Chicken coated with salmonella. But the food pyramid guidelines don't mention pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, genetically modified foods, despite scientific evidence of their harm. Shame on the USDA.
Yes, and the Australian Food FDA as well. Yes, they don't mention anything about how meat is farmed and raised and how it does contain added hormones, not just the hormones that it has in it. So anyway, he's going on to dairy in about a few seconds.
Milk and dairy products. According to Dr. Walter Willett, who has done many of the studies and reviewed this topic extensively, there are many reasons to pass up milk, including 1, milk doesn't reduce bone fractures. Contrary to popular belief, eating dairy has never been shown to reduce fracture risk, but dairy may actually increase the risk of fractures by 50%, according to the Large Nurses Health Study.
That's right. So I'm going to tell you right then and there, what happens is when you consume dairy, what happens is it actually leaches calcium from your bones. How does it leach calcium from your bones? I'm glad you asked. Calcium is married to phosphorus. So when you're having anything acidic, so it might be meat, might be dairy, might be alcohol, anything that's really acidic to your body, it will try and try and reduce the acidity. So I'm trying to make it simple terms for you. So in order to reduce the acidity, it releases phosphorus from your bones to neutralize the acid. So that's what happens. And unfortunately, calcium is married to phosphorus. So when phosphorus is released from your bones, so is calcium. Okay.
Less dairy equals better bones. Countries with the lowest rates of dairy and calcium consumption, like those in Africa and Asia, have the lowest rates of osteoporosis. Next thing is that calcium isn't as bone protective as we thought. Studies of calcium supplementation have shown no benefit in reducing fracture risk. Vitamin D, on the other hand, appears to be much more important than calcium in preventing.
Yes, can I just say vitamin D actually helps you to absorb calcium. So just like, vitamin C helps you absorb iron, vitamin D helps you absorb calcium. So I'm going to skip that little bit.
Products may reduce the risk of colon cancer. And another problem with dairy is that not everyone can stomach dairy. About 75%, or 3/4 of the world's population, is genetically unable to properly digest milk and other dairy products, a problem called lactose intolerance. So based on such findings, Dr. Walter Willett has come to some important conclusions. 1, everybody needs calcium, but probably not as much as our government's recommended daily allowance of 1,500 milligrams a day. 2, calcium probably doesn't prevent broken bones. Few people in this country are likely to reduce their fracture risk by getting more calcium. 3, men may not want to take calcium supplements. Supplements of calcium and vitamin D may be reasonable for women. And 4, dairy may be unhealthy. Advocating dairy consumption may have negative effects on health. Now, this is from Dr. Walter Willett, not me, so you should think about your next glass of milk. If all of that isn't enough to swear you off milk, there are a few other scientific findings worth noting. First, the Federal Trade Commission recently asked the USDA to look into the scientific basis of claims made in their milk mustache ads. Their panel of scientists stated the truth clearly. Number one, milk doesn't benefit sports performance. Number two, there's no evidence that dairy is good for your bones and prevents osteoporosis. In fact, animal protein in it may actually help cause bone loss. Number three, dairy is linked to prostate cancer. Number four, it's full of saturated fat and it's linked to heart disease. Number five, dairy causes digestive problems for 75% of people with lactose intolerance. And number six, dairy aggravates irritable bowel syndrome. Simply put, the FTC asked the dairy industry, got proof? And the answer was no. Plus, the dairy may contribute to even more health problems like allergies, sinus issues, ear infections, type 1 diabetes, chronic constipation, and anemia in children. But what about raw milk? Well, isn't that a healthier form of dairy? Well, not really. Yes, raw, whole, organic milk eliminates some of the concerns, like pesticides, hormones, antibiotics, and the effects of homogenization and pasteurization. But to me, these benefits don't outweigh dairy's potential risk. From an evolutionary point of view, milk is a strange food for humans. Until 10,000 years ago, we didn't domesticate animals, and we weren't able to drink milk unless some brave hunter-gatherer milked a wild tiger or a buffalo. Now, most scientists agree that it's better for us to get calcium, potassium, protein, and fats from other sources, like whole plant foods, vegetables, fruits, beans, whole grains, nuts and seeds, and seaweed. Great source of minerals. Convinced yet? Well, here's my advice for dealing with dairy. If you want healthy bones, take vitamin D. Don't rely on dairy. Get your calcium from dark green leafy vegetables, sesame, tahini, sea vegetables, or sardines or salmon with the bones in it. And try giving up all dairy, everything, and see how you feel after a few weeks. And if you can tolerate dairy, use only raw organic dairy products, preferably fermented products like yogurt or kefir. Still got milk? I hope not. Remember, dairy is not crucial for good health. I encourage you to go dairy-free and see what it does for you.
Yes, and I agree. So try it, 30 days, go without dairy and see just exactly how good you feel and how good your skin is, because skin is amazing without dairy. You actually don't have as many breakouts due to the hormones, and it's amazing, absolutely amazing. So research for yourself, and I'll talk to you soon. If you have any questions, please hit me up. I'm always answering tons and tons of questions every single day. And if you want a video made about something, just let me know and I will always give you the truth. And if I find out that anything that I've been saying is not the truth, I will happily have my pants down, walking around a pool table or whatever you want me to walk around, because that's what I do. I want to tell you the truth, and I want to help you be the healthiest that you have ever been in your entire life, just like I am. So enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. Bye.